Hollywood. Morgan number 2's 30-Second Skinny.
Garth Brooks will be honored with the Icon Award at the Billboard Music Awards. The award marks his 20th Billboard Music Award win, and he will accept the award and perform at the show on April 29th.
And he was in here earlier and was just a most humble guy about it. He's like, wow, man, I don't want to talk about that. He just, I'm not. Look at that guy. All right, what else?
Keith Urban dropped a new song. It's called God Whispered Your Name.
Then God whispered your name, and that's when everything changed.
Mary Moore's announced RSVP the tour, featuring special guest her husband Ryan Hurd, along with James Arthur and Caitlin Smith. The show kicks off June 5th in Boston.
I love the strategy there with that tour. She'll have her baby and her husband opening for her so they can take care of the kid. Like, you just bring the whole family on the road. I can't wait to be pregnant and bring my husband on the road. That's just such a good idea. That's great. I'm glad she could do that. All right, cool.
I'm Morgan number 2. That's your skinny.
Follow Bobby on Instagram.
At Mr. Bobby Bones.
Transmitting across America.
This is the Bobby Bones Show. Let's go.
Our boss will be hopping in the studio in a second. He will be our guest. He is the head of the entire country format for the biggest radio company in the world, and he's going to step in and be our co-host. On Monday, Caroline Bryan, Luke Bryan's wife, will be in to guest host. Yeah, so listen, we got a few more days before Lunchbox comes back and kind of taking advantage of getting some real fun people in here.
Yeah.
Do we want to bring Rod in now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Does he have a drink? Since he's the boss, does he get to go around the rules of bringing food in the studio because he can create a new rule?
What's he drinking?
I don't know. Because when you're the boss, you get to create the rules.
Sure.
Here he is, coming in the studio now, the head of iHeartCountry, Rod Phillips. There he is.
Yeah.
We were debating if you could create new rules since you run the show.
Why can't I drink in here?
Well, we
It's
don't.
not alcohol.
I know, but for the most part, we don't allow drinks in here in open containers. For example, Amy's got a couple drinks
Yeah.
with lids. Although Amy did spill all hers this morning.
In here?
No,
No.
just at home.
Yeah. I put it in the blender without the lid on, and then it was on high, and I thought it was on low, and so I turned it on, and literally my matcha went up in the air and landed all over me, all over the pantry, and I was running out the door, so I guess I'll deal with that when I get home.
So our don't spill is all we're saying.
Yeah.
I've definitely spilled coffee on the board before. I mean, it's been a long time.
Oh,
but
me too.
I've done it.
When we had a board in here, one time it was spilled, and I'm not sure who did it, but I know that all of a sudden the board, it started going tss on the air,
Oh, yeah, it's not good.
and we were like, oh no, get off the air. We thought we were all going to die or explode or something. Here's a fun fact. We're going to get into the morning corny. Back in the day, maybe 2 years or so ago, whenever I came up with the idea of the morning corny, Rod, our boss, said he didn't think it was a very good idea. Fun fact.
I thought it was a good idea. I just wasn't sure about the name.
The name's morning corny.
I love it
Seems
now.
like he's backing down from.
I love it. No. Jokes are good, right?
But corny, that's where the morning corny. That's why I picked that name, the morning corny.
I get it now.
Did the funny thing. Amy's up first. Here we go.
The Morning Corny.
Which bear is the most condescending?
Which bear is the most condescending?
A panda.
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 Oh.
Duh.
Ugh.
I like that.
Thank you.
was the Morning Corny.
Okay, over to Rod Phillips, our boss. Here we go.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah, well, don't talk. He's giving us Chris Kirkpatrick again. You heard the show before, right?
Can I get a cue that there was going to be some sound that I needed to wait for? I mean, what's
We
happening?
do it every day.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
All right, here we go.
The Morning Corny.
You know, it's leap year, right?
Okay.
Leap day's coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, leap day. I'm probably messing up you.
Oh, boy. Nice.
Wait.
Who do you think you are? Dave Chappelle?
what?
Oh, what's everybody? Everybody good? All right, come on in. Glad to see everybody today. Just on the job.
To be fair, leap day is Saturday, so maybe Amy was going to go with some leap day jokes tomorrow. I might be stealing her jokes. I don't know. Are you ready for it?
We're good.
I thought that was the joke.
We hit the imaging. Go ahead.
If you steal a joke, it's fine. I have more.
She didn't write these anyway. All right, Raymundo, hit it again.
The morning corny.
Do people hitchhike anymore? I don't even know.
I don't think so.
You know what you do? Do you know what you say if you pick up a hitchhiker on Leap Day this Saturday? If you pick up a hitchhiker,
I don't.
hop in.
Oh, gosh.
What? Hop in?
Is it because you leap, hop?
Yeah, Eddie got it.
I mean, it's rough.
Did you write that?
I read it.
Hey, so, I don't get it.
Like hop, like instead of leap year, hop in.
Where do most people eat on
Okay, here we
Leap
go.
Day?
All
Where do
right.
most people eat on Leap Day?
IHOP.
Yeah, I hop.
Yeah,
But
that's it.
but I still don't
But
get it.
hop and leap aren't the same.
Every
not-
joke
All right,
you
there
look-
we go.
Is it
Close it up,
hop there?
Raymundo.
It's not.
Amy, don't go down this road.
Okay.
of leap
No.
jokes.
That was the morning corny.
I actually should support because I know how it feels to not have your jokes understood.
We started with a 10-minute pre-monologue. Everybody good? Don't forget to get your drinks tonight.
Leap day, right,
Yeah,
Saturday?
we're gonna- so how about this? The election's coming up. He does all. Okay, well that's fun. Let's do Dustin Lynch riding roads. We'll come back here. Our boss is our fill-in guest host today, our Bobby Bones show.
The Bobby Bones Show.
I was reading this proposal story on Southwest Airlines. Now, she was on a plane returning from this assistance program in Peru, but she lands in the States, and she's going to get on a Southwest flight. And her boyfriend shows up and pops the question, and he set up the whole surprise with Southwest Airlines. Now, before she even left for Peru, he set up this elaborate plan. and they go through, and I just think you have to know at this point if she's going to say yes, right? Is there ever a proposal where you don't know?
I don't know anybody that's ever said no, but I mean, I'm sure there's people that have been, yeah. I mean, you have to be pretty confident to be that involved.
If it's less than 90% in your heart, do you go forth and ask?
No.
Rod, you've been married for how long?
15 years next month.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember your anniversary date?
Of course I do.
Because she tells you or because you're a date
No,
guy?
that's not that hard.
How did you propose?
I proposed with, it's a little bit of a long story. How can I make it succinct? I acted like my car was broken down, needed to get somewhere, so she had to come to the condo, pick me up. She got to the garage, started up the steps, lived on the second floor. Rose petals were...
Nice. I love the rose petal
Rose
trail.
petals were, it was a trail of rose petals.
Yes.
That's up to the top, which, by the way, she didn't notice when she first walked up, which is weird. Then she had to come out to the garage. I forget all the details. By the time she got there, the ring was hanging off of the mirror. So, and then I came out from around the corner and...
Nice.
Ta-da!
What were you wearing?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, it wasn't like a tux or anything?
Definitely not a tux. Possibly gym shorts.
Did you get down on the knees still?
That's a good question. I may not have.
Why not?
You did a rose petals, but no knee?
Weird.
Yeah,
It's a
weird.
weird priority list there.
I
You
don't
want to go
remember.
extra romantic, but not do the normal romantic?
Hey, I had wine set up in the condo for little toast, and then we went out to find her parents and have a quick dinner.
Did her parents live in the same town?
Yeah, suburbs of Chicago. So we went from downtown all the way out and had dinner.
And so you've been together 15 years now?
Yeah.
Is that the longest here in the room? Eddie, you?
15. I'm about to be 15. I haven't gotten there yet.
13.
What advice would you give me, Rod? You know me well. I have a girlfriend.
Yeah, I haven't met her yet.
True. But she'll be here tonight.
I'm a little offended by that. But when do I meet her, by the way? Do I get...
You can meet her this weekend if you want.
Yeah.
You going to be here?
Yeah. We should do that.
Okay.
She looks amazing. She looks fantastic. But yeah,
What do you mean she looks fantastic?
she looks fantastic, but everything about her also looks like a great personality, fun. She rolls with all your antics. Not everybody can do that, obviously.
Okay. What advice would you give me?
It's time. Like, you need to pay attention. Like, if this is one that's really good, like, it's time to invest. More emotion, more time. Get serious about it.
What's funny is he's had this conversation with me off the air in my office over the years a few times.
Yeah.
Was it just like that?
Well, he's like, hey, what are we waiting on? I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, listeners will like you better if you're married.
Oh.
No, but he does care. He does
Well,
care.
personally, you need some life balance. We all know that. Have some balance.
How do you feel about that, Amy?
I mean, I agree. I think the balance is key. You've spent enough time investing into your career that I think now it's in time to invest in a family. 'Cause
Have I
know
spent enough time in my career, though? That's the question.
there's still room for that. It doesn't mean if you get married and have kids, you abandon your career, but I think it's time to make room for that.
Okay. Well, I will be happy to hang out this weekend if you can.
Yeah, I can't wait to meet her.
Rod's the hardest guy to get a hold of, though. You think I'm tough? You should try to get a hold of Rod Phillips, our fill-in guest for the day. Who's
I mean, people say that, but I don't agree.
people? Listen, it's hard to get. I get it. It's hard for me to pick up a phone, but people will call me to get to him. So we'll come back. Rod, how long ago did you start radio?
Go. I wondered if you would ask me that year. Like that, it was a long time ago, dude. Like it's been a lot of years.
What year would you say you started
Or,
radio?
like, guess-
Same year I graduated high school.
Which was
60.
Not cool.
I'm
Man.
messing with you. I'm messing with you.
Went
So-
with the
so I-
cheap shot.
I started radio when I was 17. So,
So did I.
97, 98. You started it when?
Yeah, 10 years before that.
Okay, so the 80s.
Yeah, I'm like Garth. I mean, Garth was there earlier. I started in the 80s with Garth. I'm still around. Not like he is, but I'm still around.
Did you ever play Garth?
No, never programmed country radio. Like, that's weird, right?
Yeah. We're going to come back with, if you have a question, he's the head of radio. He's the head of all radio in the world.
These questions will be fascinating.
Yeah. 877-77-Bobby. Also, I do want to talk about Love is Blind. I watched 2 episodes last night.
Okay. Yeah, let's do.
And I tweeted on my I just tweeted
I saw
along
you
with
live
it
tweeting.
as I was going.
Oh, wow.
Live but recorded with the shows
right.
unrecorded. We'll get to both of those coming up next.
Bobby Bones.
Hey, it's Amy.
Our boss, the head of the entire country format, Rod Phillips, is our guest host. And so I've said, hey, call and ask Rod a question. People have a lot of questions about radio. Let's go to Corey in North Carolina, who's on the phone. Corey, you're on with us, obviously the Bobby Bone Show, but Rod Phillips, the head of iHeartCountry. What do you think?
Hey, how are y'all doing today?
We're pretty good. What's going on?
Great. My question is why, if he's the head of the country radio, iHeartCountry Radio, they kind of play the same 20 artists over and over again. There's no other artists that are played that are actually out there performing and selling out shows and have a large following, and they're not getting any of that airtime.
I think it's a question a lot of people wonder. Rod, also enlighten me on this.
Yeah, well, there's different kind of listeners, right? And she immediately sounds like somebody who's very into new music and variety and all those kinds of things. But actually, at the end of the day, most people aren't. First of all, we don't play 20, right? If she has a perception of that, then she wants more. There's probably not enough that we could play to please her palate. But most people just want to hear the hits. They're in the car quickly running to work. They're dropping the kids off at daycare, and they want to hear Luke Bryan knocking boots, right? So we play that as fast as we can for the next person who's now got lunch break and headed out to grab a sandwich. So people want variety for sure. We know that. It depends on your personal taste and your bandwidth, if you will, to receive new music. Most people just don't have the time to process that much new music.
I looked. We are currently playing 71 artists, not 20. Just for.
Oh, good call. Yeah.
Well, no, I just pulled it up. I didn't know that.
Okay.
So there are currently 71 artists, and how it was explained to me, because again, I don't program radio. That's never been my thing where I program music, or sometimes I'll come in and just play songs. How Rod explained it to me a long time ago, because I often said, hey, why don't we be fancy and just play all the stuff that we like? And he's like, well, most people can listen for 20 minutes, and in that 20 minutes, they want to hear the most hits possible.
Yeah.
And most people aren't listening for an hour or 2 hours.
Well, that's the other great point about somebody like her. She clearly listens to the radio a lot to get that perception. And by the way, thank you. Thanks for listening to a lot of radio. But that person listens to a lot of radio, probably more than the average person, and wants just more new music in their life.
Well, I'd like to challenge on something, Rod.
Oh, gosh.
Let's play less music on the morning show and let's talk the whole time. How about less
You've been
new
asking
artists?
for that for a long time.
Yeah. Hey, Corey, I felt like that was a pretty honest answer. That he also gave me a little insight on that. What do you think about that?
Well, why aren't you throwing something in there in between it? I mean, I know you're. I get in the car, yeah, and the same music. It does seem like it's playing. I am in sales, so I'm in the car a lot. But why aren't you throwing these other artists in there, especially if you want to have variety? Having an artist come in and playing them, besides when maybe their first album they come out, like the Pistolantes, you had them in, you played their song, but we never heard their song again. That sort of thing.
Rod Phillips, your answer, please.
I love the Pistolantes. I love that sound. Not everybody likes a sound just left of center. So we try to find as far as we can go for the most amount of people to be happy the most amount of times. I mean, it gets kind of crazy scientific, to be honest. We have a lot of data and we have a lot of research, and it all comes in and says that certain songs are liked by the most amount of people. Play these more. So we're just trying to catch you and make you happy for that 15, 20, 30 minutes you have with us.
And I often say this about, if there was a way to build ratings regardless of what it was, the people that are trying to build the ratings to keep their jobs would do it.
Yeah.
But there's never a personal feeling about this. There's never I'm just going to play what I like, because that will be bad ratings. It's always, how do we make the most people happy for the most amount of time? And I think the most people will be happy if we stop playing music at all and we just talk the whole time. Now, I'll say this too about how long people listen, is that they do listen a little more in the morning than they do
for sure.
From 10 to 3 o'clock, which is why, we're not doing the same segments every 15 minutes. Does that make sense?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
There's more passion to listen to the people feel like it's how they need to start the day, which is great. Radio remains crazy relevant. A show like the Bobby Bones Show, people have to have the show. It's like a cup of coffee. I get my coffee, I get my Bobby Bones. We see it.
That's a pretty good answer. I like that. Also, I'll say this, that anytime I ever see I love new music. So I'm a music nerd. Eddie and I are music nerds.
We love it.
We also would just love to come in here and play our favorite new artists that no one's ever heard of. And we do sometimes. But you want to see ratings go down? That's what happens.
Yeah.
If you just bring in a bunch of new artists, people are like, I'm not familiar with this change. And we've bucked that system a little bit, just a little bit, where we do that. And you guys that listen to the show trust me enough to go, if Bobby thinks it's good. We'll give it a shot. But when we look at this data and new artists or new songs people have never heard are on, people are like, change. And that stinks because I would also, for my personal taste, just like to play a bunch of stuff that normal radio does. So does Rod.
People still love to sing along, right? So if you turn on the radio, you're looking for a song you love, you know the words, and even if you mess up the words every now and then, you're in your car belting it out. People still enjoy that.
I like that question, though, Corey. Put the screws
Good
to
question.
him. That's what I like to do. Put the screws to the man.
Got hot in here.
That's right. Hey, Corey, I appreciate that call, and thank you so much for listening.
Yep. Thank you for taking my call.
All right, have a good day. Here's one. What did Rod see in Bobby to give him his show?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah.
He doesn't know.
No,
He's
no.
like, oh, I
No, it's the same answer.
Interesting.
It's the same answer every time. The most real and authentic, and sometimes not that. The show wasn't that good by radio standards.
Still
and
isn't, by the way, by
still
radio
isn't.
standards. Yeah.
And that's why I loved it. That's why I loved it. That's why I love it. It was the most. It was the most real content out there. Instead of doing, where's the show prep? And let's talk about this top 10 list. I mean, you might do your top 10 list, but it's yours. It didn't come from a morning radio service. And
mostly because you guys wouldn't buy us those.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
Yeah,
we
it's-
kind of had to
there's-
form ourselves through being broke.
A subscription to that.
Been
We
nice.
would have to, I remember a long time ago, like trying to get other people in the building, like, what's your login to that? Like, just to have.
We would have to
'Cause
steal
we didn't have
logins
our
from
own
other
login.
radio people. That's a great point.
Yeah.
I think now, looking back, the greatest thing that ever happened to me was having no resources. Because and this is way pre-Rod. By the way, Rod was the first executive to ever even talk to me or acknowledge my existence in radio. I was at Hot Springs, Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas, Austin, Texas. Nobody gave a crap. I couldn't get a meeting with anyone. Rod was the first guy that flew in to meet with me ever. I wrote about it in my first book. And we've been together like 10 years now.
I know. I thought about that this morning. It'll be 10 years sometime this year.
And even when I would do things and get in trouble, maybe is the word, but I would do things that weren't what other shows were doing and people would hate on it. Rod was the guy that was like, hey, listen, this is what you do. You should keep doing what you do. There's no need to go and hop in the radio person lane. So, but we also I never had money to hire co-hosts, bring in Amy in the best way because we had no money, so I just hired friends. We had no money for show prep, so we didn't have show prep services. We just talked about what we felt like talking about. Even yesterday, Rod calls and goes, hey, should I be preparing for something? I was like, I don't know. The show's not for like 12 hours.
True.
But I appreciate that call. We'll grab some more callers in a second. Let's play a song. Since Rod's here, we got to play songs.
The same 20 artists.
More songs.
Here we go.
Can we play the song we just played one more time?
Luke Combs, Even Though I'm Leaving, Bobby Bone Show. is filling in as guest host today. And if you guys want to hop on with us, you can. 877-77-BOBBY. We'll come back. Rod will give us his Tell Me Something Good. We will do an ACM nomination. The category that I'm going to do, I will announce the ACM Album of the Year nominees. So they're actually letting me announce this as a real announce. I know.
Okay.
What if I just add a couple in?
Some that you want?
Yeah. And then
That'd be funny.
it gets printed. How funny would that be? It's not even out yet, but the Raging Idiot's live in Little Rock.
Yes.
Up for Album of the Year. Wow. So, but I will do that announcement coming up as well. And I will talk about Love is Blind a little bit. Rod, have you watched that show at all?
Mm-mm, have not, sorry.
It's the show right now. It's the viral show.
What's it on? I don't even know.
Netflix.
Got it.
What they do is they bring in, I don't know how many guys, how many girls, 10 or so.
Seems like it.
And they don't get to see each other, but they date. And then they propose and they get married.
They talk. They engage.
just talk through a wall.
Yeah, interact, but no.
They get married before they see each other.
They
No.
get to,
No.
once they propose and they say yes, and
yeah.
they get to see each other.
Got it. Wow.
It's
Crazy.
Yeah,
Wait, but
I have a lot of thoughts.
And you've seen
Two
the first
episodes.
two? Okay, so I've only seen one. And I didn't see any of your tweets, so I'm super curious, like, what you think?
yeah. By the way, Rod, what is your Instagram?
Instagram is simple. Rodney P1.
Rodney P1.
Yeah.
Rodney P straight up taken?
Good question. Probably. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Rodney P1 was taken at Twitter. That made me mad. So I couldn't even do it there.
Rodney P1.
So what are you on Twitter, Rodney P2?
Rodney P1.
Okay, too much. We're just focused on Instagram.
Nobody follows me.
Rodney P1 on Instagram.
Doesn't matter.
All right, back in a second.
This is the Bobby Bones Show.
The ACM team reached out asking for us to announce one of the categories on air today. So, and by the way, you can see videos of this award and another award too that we're announcing on the ACM Awards account. So, Twitter and Instagram, ACM Awards. Here we go. And now, the ACM Album of the Year nominees. First up, Thomas Rhett, Center Point Road. Maren Morris, Girl. John Party, Heartache Medication. Luke Combs, What You See Is What You Get.
Long neck, eyes cold, never broke my heart.
And Miranda Lambert, Wild Card. Those are your nominees for Album of the Year at the ACMs. Congrats to all the nominees. Check out the 55th ACM Awards hosted by Keith Urban live Sunday, April 5th at 8/7 Central on CBS. Congratulations to all of them. Do we want to pick a winner? I guess not. I just announced I can't.
Yeah.
I shouldn't do that. I should. Well,
Thought
it's
about
another
it.
day.
Yeah, save that.
That's another day. Rod Phillips, who is our boss, the head of iHeartCountry, is in studio with us. I thought we'd play a fun game, Rod. And Rod hit me up. He was like, hey, let's not play a game.
Yeah, I hate games.
But
I love listening to them.
Yeah.
I cannot play these games.
we're not going to play a trivia game, though. We're going to play hit that post.
Oh.
So what a post...
I need some content. Mike D.
What a post is where you talk up to the words of a song. For example, I don't want to waste... Let's do...
Bones is so good at this.
Well, I won't waste one because we only have a few of them.
Okay.
What we're going to do is Carrie Underwood, Drinking Alone. Your post will be 15 seconds. That's just the music. At 15 seconds, she starts singing. Okay? So you have to talk right up into it, and then you stop talking right when she starts singing.
Boy, I used to be good at this.
It's like an art.
It's been a minute.
All right, Raymundo, he has 15 seconds.
Wait, hold on. Do I have a radio station name? What are we using?
It's
Bobby
be whatever
FM.
you want.
Bobby
It could be
FM. Rod FM.
Rodney
go with,
P1.
Rodney 102.
Let's go with
You can.
let's go with Bobby FM. I like that one.
Hey, by the way, is your Instagram private?
Oh my god.
A lot of listeners are going, why does he give his Instagram name and then it's private?
Oh, that means you should go through and accept every single one.
Give me something to do later.
Rookie
Oh wow,
move.
there's a lot of them too. You guys have listeners.
It'll
them
give me
all.
something to do
He's
later.
surprised that anyone listens.
Can you just accept them all?
I don't
Okay,
don't
do
know
that later.
Okay, so he'll go public with his account in a second.
Yes.
Rodney P1 is his Instagram. Okay, he has 15 seconds.
Hold on. Carrie's first.
Carrie Underwood, Drinking Alone.
Love her.
Are you ready?
No.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, I didn't even hear the song.
Well, it just
Oh, my
started.
God.
It's not loud
come
enough.
on.
Turn it up. Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
All right, here we go.
All right, we had a caller on earlier. She wanted more new music. You can never do better than Carrie Underwood new music. Drink It Alone, her new single.
Oh,
You said 15. Time out. You said 15 seconds.
That
was
was
not
15.
That was not 15 seconds.
yeah.
No, go back and listen.
Raymundo, how long was that?
About 10.
Thank you.
This says 15 on my sheet.
Let's do another one. That was
Okay.
not fair.
Okay, we'll put
I
that one
can't
on.
hear the music, by the way.
Turn it up.
That's going to help.
You have a volume button.
Got it.
Thank you. All right, let's do Jake Owen Homemade.
I like
13 seconds. Do you need a second to gather your content?
I think I'm all right with Jake.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah. Jake Owen, better golfer than you ever want him to be. I mean, this guy hits the ball a mile. He was on the Pro-Am at Pebble Beach. Long baller and a brand new song, Homemade. It's Jake Owen. Thanks for listening to Bobby FM.
Nice job. That's good. You got a good one.
Good.
All right, 1 for 1. We're going to do 3 of these in all.
Long baller.
Nice. Let's do a quick one. Chasing You, Morgan Wallen's only 5 seconds. I think
Morgan
you
Wallen,
can
you,
nail
Morgan
this
Wallen.
one. All right, here we go.
It's how long?
Only 5 seconds.
You sure it's 5? Seems faster than that.
It's on. It's
Got
on
it.
my sheet.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go.
Let's do it. New music, Morgan Wallen, Chasing You on Bobby FM. No, that's not. That is not 5 seconds.
Oh,
Guys, I know 5 seconds.
Raymundo, hit it. I'll count it. Go. 1, 2, 3.
used to
That's
taste
not 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's
Who
free.
did the sheet?
It's a failed attempt.
Who did the sheet?
Stand up.
Who did the sheet? Why are all the times wrong? You're making our guy look bad here.
I sent Mike the times. My times were correct.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Sometimes you just have to feel the music, you know?
No, that's not fair. We gave him. Hey, oh, we got a text here. Someone says Rob has a great voice.
Nice. Happens all the time.
Rod.
The
There you go.
Starbucks cup never comes back Rod. It's
What?
Ron or Rob.
Ron.
All Rods can appreciate this. Never Rod.
You mind taking a couple questions about your job as a programmer, someone who is like a high-level
do it.
executive?
Come on.
Scott in North Carolina is on the phone. Hey, Scott, you're on the Bobby Bone Show. Our boss, head of...
Morning, studio.
Morning. Go ahead, bud.
All right, Rod. Who do you think has the most impact on the way songs are numbered week to week, hitting the top 10? Is it the fans calling in? Is it studios? Is it people putting the music out that really has the impact on the numbers?
Great question.
If I understand the question, at that point, it comes down to research. Radio companies do a lot of research to see what listeners are saying they like the most. It gets moved up in category, and you eventually get in what we call power, right? There's 4 to 5. Some stations have maybe up to 7 songs in that same category. Now you're one of the top 5 to 7 songs. If enough radio stations do the same thing, you move up and you eventually are number one.
Here's a question I have. When people say research, what actually happens on research?
Quick recap on that. Not that long ago, it was literally call centers calling people at home. Okay, so that was maybe 10 plus years ago. Or eventually on their cell phone and saying, will you listen to 30 or 40 songs? And by the way, when you do that, you listen to about 15 seconds of a song, and then you give a response. Now those folks are contacted over the phone, and then they're sent online to listen and react to the song.
So when you get research, it's because people are going to, like thousands of people are going online and taking tests and going, I like this song, don't like this song.
Correct. That's it.
And then you get a report.
They roll it up 100 different ways. So we see what people like, what they say they don't know yet, what they used to like. In other words, I liked it, but I don't like it anymore. Heard it too much. It's one of my favorite songs, or I just like it. All that rolls up into what are the highest testing songs.
So it's not just people making their decisions and going, I'm just going to play this because I like it.
There's probably some of those out there.
But I mean, on a high level, on a macro level like you.
Not on a macro level, not at a major company like iHeartRadio.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
How do I get one of my songs in that testing thing? Let's see.
Do we want to test it?
Yeah. Well, why not?
I don't think we've ever tested a Raging Idiot song.
Really?
I don't think so.
Just look on Twitter, man.
You want to?
There's your
Look
test.
on
Yeah, I
Twitter.
did test the crap out of it. Scott, you still there, bud?
I'm here.
Does that make sense? Because I learned something there too. Thousands of people go online.
It makes sense, does it?
Yeah.
Does it affect like the Billboard top 10, top 100 based on that research as well?
Same. I mean, different charts then do with that data what they want to do. Billboard acts different than media-based, but it ends up relatively in the same space.
Most times, someone who has a number one at one has the number one at the other. Sometimes, occasionally, it doesn't work out that way.
Correct.
And that's also based on streams. And so you're even seeing the streaming chart be the same as the radio chart most times, which shows you that consumption is, that radio is most of the time getting it right.
Well, radio is typically a reflection of everything happening in the world of music. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that interesting. That's like saying that. When I don't understand, I just go, wow.
One chart, to your point, is just radio airplay, and then there's a chart that does take into play sales, and there are some sales still left, right? Still, mostly streaming and other consumption.
And most times they're the same. It was my point. Most times the number one is the same person.
Correct.
All right, Scott, appreciate that call.
Thanks, guys.
All right, have a good day. See, I like these calls because I think I'd feel dumb to ask these questions in a room. Raise my hand. Let me ask you, how does radio work? But here,
It's
callers
safe.
can
Yeah.
ask. It's a safe space. Okay, we will come back. Rod's still going to give us Tell Me Something Good, but we do have ours coming up here.
Tell me something good.
Our guest host has been our boss and the head of iHeartCountry, Rod Phillips. And we have a couple more calls if you don't mind taking calls.
Let's roll.
People are very interested in how radio works. Not how we work as a show, because I think what we do is a bit different, but how radio in general works. That's what Rod does. How would you describe your job? Because you don't really program a radio station.
Yeah, I mean, I call it oversight of 150 country stations coast to coast and the Bobby Bones Show. That's what I tell people. That's my elevator speech.
But you do us in front, right? Bobby Bones Show. And then also there's some stations.
Well, we try to spread the love.
Yeah. Let's go over and talk to Pete. Pete's got an interesting question. Hey, Pete, you're in Florida. You're on with our boss, Rod Phillips.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man. What do you want to know?
I was just wondering, what's the best way for a local blue-collar worker artist to get exposure? Because it's very hard for me, just not to really have too much money to invest in advertising. So what's the best way to get exposure?
What do you think about that, Rod?
Yeah, that's a good one. I do still think people are able to be exposed on a local radio station, but you've got to be just maniacal about it. Like, okay, so don't show up at the radio station at 5 o'clock in the morning and scare people, but find out who the people are who make the decisions locally and just be aggressive. Be Bobby Bones. Fight, grind, repeat.
I was talking to the guys from Three Doors Down. That's what they did in Mobile. They were like, we got on the homegrown show. Because a lot of stations will find like an hour a week to focus on
that still happens.
Yeah.
It's real.
So it's that kind of thing.
That's the start of it. I mean, the other way to do it, if you're in country music, you move to Nashville and you try to get through the clutter, but there's a lot of really talented folks here, so it's not easy.
Pete, also, most artists are broke. Like nobody has money for advertising. You have to move and grind it out and be poor for a long time. And I don't just mean music artists. I mean writers, artists, musicians. If you do the art, a lot of people think they can do the art, so a lot of people try to do the art. And so it doesn't pay at all until it really pays. And there's almost no middle class in art. And so your story is very, very, very common, where most people who want to create and we can do music, they are broke and they have to make hard decisions. You know how many artists I've talked to on my podcast where they go, I had no money. And the only thing I was doing is I was waiting tables for 12 hours a day and playing 2 hours at night for 7 days a week. And so my advice to you is, yeah, everybody's going through what you're going through. And if you really wanted it, then you have to decide, focus, and eat ramen noodles and bologna sandwiches and go bar to bar and barely get by. I don't know what. There are only a couple rich artists that I know whose family was so rich that they had nets. Mm-hmm. And a little bit, I roll my eyes at them. I'm like, you didn't even have it hard. You didn't even have it hard. You don't even know what it's like. Because I was one of the broke artists who had to suffer for a long time because I knew what I wanted to do. So, Pete, my advice to you is, aside from Rod's technical advice, is, hey, man, suck it up and just work. Because there are a lot of broke folks trying to make art. And if you want it, you'll do it. And you know that. I don't have to tell you anything you don't know. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. I'm your biggest fan, man. I'm at work right now. I work for Southeast Irrigation. I put in irrigation pipes, and I do my music and my writing, my comedy on the side. My Instagram's at K9_Florida.
Hold on, let's say it again. I want everybody to hear this. Hold on, you got a spot here. So say your Instagram again.
K9_Florida.
K9 like a dog?
Yes, sir.
All right.
K9, the letter K, the number 9_Florida.
Got okay.
And as a matter of fact, Bobby, you actually commented on one of my videos, man, and gave me 3 laughing emojis, and I bring that to work every day, man. I tell everybody about it. I said, man, I made Bobby Bones laugh.
That's what I'm talking about.
Not one.
Yeah. Hey, Pete, let me give you another tip, just a strategy tip. If you were to write a funny song that's about a minute long for your local morning show, or they may actually go, wow, this is so fun, we can play it. And that gets you. It's not just about getting a 3-minute song on the radio. It's about getting people to your Instagrams or Twitters or checking out a stream that you're doing. And all of that eventually leads up to radio. Like, radio's the major leagues. Somebody doesn't go from being 16 years old as a ball player to the major league. Almost never, unless you're Bryce Harper. So what you do is you go through the minor leagues, which is YouTube, which is satellite radio, which is streaming, and then hopefully from the minor leagues, you get a shot at the big leagues. So, Pete, I hear in your voice, you want it, dude, so don't stop, all right?
Yes, sir, man. I love you, Bobby Dog. I don't care what nobody says about you.
Who's
Man.
saying stuff about me, Pete? What do you mean? All right, bud.
Oh, I guess.
Oh, I don't know, man. You're the one that goes on there saying people say stuff about you. I listen every day, so I hear everything, man.
All right, bud. Appreciate you. Have a good day, Pete.
I remember everything they used to
Yes,
say
sir.
about
Y'all
you 7
too.
years ago
About me?
when everybody moved here.
What was it like? Because yesterday we celebrated 7 years. I know in my mind it was miserable for about 3 of those.
Yeah.
What was it like
For us too.
as an outsider
Oh.
when we come in and I go, hey, like I know how I want to do country music. I grew up on country music, and I not only listen to country, but I listen to other things too, which, by the way, is how we do our show now.
Right.
But at the time was kind of unheard of.
What's funny, K9 is followed by, Mac in Miami. He does a morning show on I think it's MIA now, but radio guy, top 40 guy. So he's got something going on. He's got people paying attention to him. He's followed by
That
our
last
guy.
caller?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But is coming to this town and to your point, being an outsider, you didn't come from a country radio station and then take on more country radio stations. I mean, it was out of left field. That does not go over well always. And then you came in like knocking walls down and yelling at people and having Twitter rants with artists, and it was awesome.
Cracking eggs, I think you called it, right?
Well, I just
Oh
like,
yeah, he cracked a lot of eggs.
it's a different me. But what I tell artists too who sound very different, I say, hey, yeah, you're always really different until you're the one everybody wants to be like. Because people will come in and go, my sound is, how do we make my sound work? And I'm like, well, once people like it and pay attention to it, and people see that others are enjoying it, they'll mimic your sound. They'll start to do what you're doing. So be your own voice and your own sound, and let people come to you instead of having to lean into what everybody else is doing. And that's a bit of what we did. We just kind of went in and said, well, hope this works.
So y'all started 7 years ago. How long in your recollection did it take to feel like it wasn't so awkward and like just thrown into, the music bro, if you will?
What's today?
1 year, 2 years? 3 years?
It was really about between 2.5 and 3 years.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Where it just didn't feel like I was being pounded all the time.
Where less people hated you.
Mm-hmm. At this point now,
That was the win.
Yeah.
Well, less people hate me.
At this point now, it's we have our people. We have our people that listen. We're bonded to our listeners. We're there for them. They're there for us, and everybody else can kick rocks. But we like for people to come in and we're very inclusive. Mm-hmm. So I think that's our strength. Is we're normal. We don't have big voices. We don't try to be anything we're not. We suck. We're awesome.
Did I ever tell
all
you?
of that?
Did I ever tell you the story where program directors were calling when we launched the show nationally and literally having conversations with me about your voice?
Wait, what?
And I'm like, are we having this conversation?
Because what? It wasn't like
They're
DJ
like,
enough?
I don't understand. Like, how are we going to do it with that voice? Like, I just don't want to get his voice.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So they wanted more of a DJ voice?
Oh, yeah. I mean, radio people, some still today, I think, are stuck on that.
Was that just the difference in the country radio
No,
people? Because Bobby has been
format,
doing radio
really.
since 17.
But I've always never had a voice.
Right.
I've always
That's what I mean.
never.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
working in top 40, that voice, but I guess maybe the country people were used to.
Listen, I was doing sports radio, no problem. I was doing pop radio, no problem.
No problem.
I was doing rock radio,
Yeah,
no problem.
you were. That's the point. You were doing it differently, and you sounded like a real person. Top 40 DJs did not sound like real people. They didn't.
I know, but we're talking to when he came over to country, like they were freaking out.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, listen, we do have a gift for you for coming in today.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
was I supposed to bring?
No,
gifts?
you don't bring a gift for us. Your parting gift today, Rod Phillips, our boss, the head of iHeartCountry. Some people will call it the most powerful man in country music. Here's your gift.
What do we have?
We all have signed a rod for you.
There you go,
That's
buddy.
right.
A signed rod.
For Rod.
That's fancy.
Did you turn your Instagram public?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Rodney P1 is his Instagram. One more call here.
Fantastic.
Zach in Florida. We're on with Rod Phillips. What do you say, Zach?
Hey, how's it going? What's up, studio?
What up, dude?
I just have a question. Why in the morning are the songs just not as upbeat? I'm just wondering if there's a reason why you guys choose the songs in the morning.
Yeah.
Why?
That's a relevant question. We pay attention to that. We try to. There have been so many big hits that are medium to slower tempo. You got to play the hits. But I, as a programmer, I'm cognizant of that. We're looking for songs that are both hits and upbeat. People want to wake up, they want to go. But you sometimes it's just undeniable. You got to play those big songs. But you agree with that, right? And it's a balance, Bobby. I mean, we want the best music. You don't play a ton of music compared to some morning
I
shows.
would like to play no music.
I know you don't
Can
play
we
music.
go? Can we go into this again? We play no. Let's just. You want to see ratings?
Got it. I'm with you.
Thank you.
So we're gonna do it.
But like, who's permit? Like, who decide? Like, if you're saying you get that.
Well, no. I'm going to tell you. Don't ask him that because he'll have to say the right answer. This is what's
But
happened.
that's true. I sort of have.
Yes, this is what's happened with us. We've never been told we can play less music. We just do it, and then ratings are good, and then
Okay.
we're like, we told you. You at some point in your life, and I'm not just talking about radio people. At some point in your life, you have to make a decision that you're going to step out and push your agenda. And for us, it is we want to be compelling to our listeners because we feel like you can hear music in 5,000 places. That being said, let's just play less music and see what happens. No, I wouldn't encourage people to do that. I did that. My whole career, I've done that. Rod would not want me to say that to him that I was doing that because he would go, you should not do that. Accurate?
Did you play music on the Top 40 show?
No, we played no
Oh
music.
my gosh, we probably played like one song an hour.
And that's only when I had to go number 2.
Yeah, sometimes it was 2 songs an hour. If yes,
Well, at least
break.
you didn't play any slow songs.
Yeah, I just like playing the songs that are good. I think you have to play. Anytime you're just playing a song because it fits something, I'm not into that. I like what Rod does. You find the good songs. You just try to mix it up and as best you can while not turning anyone off.
We're doing the best we can.
There is no right answer. Yeah. If there was, we would be doing it. 7 years yesterday, we would not be here without Rod. I'll say this as this is the last time he's going to be with us. I wouldn't have been a syndicated show because I had started spending my own money. I started syndicating my show with my own money. By the way, didn't ask the company to do it. I don't encourage people to do that. But what I did is I was like, I got to get us on the air. We're never going to, being a local show in one city is never going to be a long career that I wanted. So I wanted to be heard as most people because I wanted to make an impact in as most people's lives I possibly could.
But that's a fact. You bought equipment on your own money and sent it to the radio station and said, here's how to run our show. I've never seen anything like it.
So I was like, here we go. Let's go. I'm paying for it all. And I was making $50,000 a year and spending 27 of it to have these stations running. Nobody cared about me. The first person to ever come to town was Rod. He came in from Miami, maybe Chicago.
Might have moved to Cincinnati by then, but Miami or Cincinnati.
One of these places. And I'm in Austin, Texas, at a True Luxe restaurant going, I cannot believe I'm meeting with an executive. I can't believe that anyone gives a crap about what we're doing. And he said, hey, I see what you're doing, and I'd like to put you on some of my stations. And away we went in Augusta, Georgia, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I can list all these stations. He was the first person to ever go, you should have someone invest in you as well. And that turned into us being right here in this room. And I would like to think that we're part of the reason that you're here too, because we came here and then, I was like, hey, I can't do this without my guy.
Well, we were going to fail or succeed together. That's for sure.
So we wouldn't be here without you, all of us, except for Morgan number 2. You never liked her other than that. Just kidding.
We're working on that.
Amy, anything you'd like to say?
No, I think it was a good hour. That went by so fast. I feel like it's
an
already-
hour and
wait.
15 minutes.
Oh, you got bonus. Nobody's been here for over an hour. So I guess, did it feel good for you to be back in radio for a minute?
It's fun to be back in the studio. I agree. It completely flew by. Thanks for having me on. I have no idea why anybody would listen, but that's how we are, right? We feel like, well, nobody's going to care about that. Nobody cares, but why do you look at research? But maybe we talked about radio, had some fun. I enjoyed it. I didn't spill my coffee.
I know. Yeah.
Wins.
All right, there he is. And this is the last time I'll see him for like 3 months because I can't get a meeting with him.
Okay.
I text him.
Here we
There
go.
There he is. Rod Phillips, our head at iHeartRadio. Mike, is there anything we're supposed to do with him that we haven't done? Oh, tell me something good.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Mike. All right, Raymond, hit that clip, please.
It's time for the good news.
Tell me something good.
Gonna sound a little self-serving. I promise it's not. Our iHeart Country Festival is coming up in May 2nd in Austin. And this year, we're kind of expanding on what we did with One Night for Our Military. We're making sure we have active military personnel with families in the room enjoying the concert with us, and we're going to bring them there. We're going to tie into a sponsor. It'll be announced soon. We're really excited about it. Bobby, we're going to have you on stage shouting out to some specific military folks. We're going to make sure they're literally in the house in Austin all weekend. Pre-shows, post-shows, backstage. We're just going to make sure the military understands that we mean it when we say we're here to support them.
I'll say there are 2 things that Rod has kind of accompanied us with, and that has been support with the military and St. Jude. You know, a lot of the meetings that Rod and I have are how can we further integrate our appreciation for military and further our work with the kids at St. Jude. And so that you obviously don't get the credit for that because it's always in rooms, and you don't seek the credit for that. But we would not be able to do that without you, and also you without us. So it's a great team.
Yeah, appreciate the shout outs.
There it is.
Very good.
All right, there he is, Rod Phillips. We'll be back in a second. Nice job. There he is.
The Bobby Bones Show.